Coming up on today's show, we are going to explain why I believe the Kansas City Chiefs have fixed their biggest flaw heading into 2025. Tyler Jones, your fearless leader, here with you. Thanks for joining us here on the Kansas City Chiefs Report. Before we go any further in today's show, folks, I got to challenge our new Broncos Breakdown host, Trace Moustakas. You know him as Creepy TikTok Guy. He put out a little challenge out there saying that he doesn't believe we can get 400 likes on today's video. And I said, Moose, you're crazy in more ways than one. We can easily get 400 likes on today's video. We got the best fans in the NFL. You haven't won the division in 9 years. You have no room to be talking smack whatsoever. So back me up on this, folks. Back me up on this. Spam F Moose in the chat if you feel like it as well. Smash that like button, and we will get started with this edition of the Kansas City Chiefs Report. Hit that like button, and we will get going here. Who is stopping us now? That is the question that Chiefs fans should be asking themselves after Brett Veach and Andy Reid addressed the offensive line this offseason after a rough go in 2024, especially when it came to protecting Patrick Mahomes. In 2024, the Chiefs allowed a total of 41 sacks. That was the 16th most of any team in the NFL. But the biggest issue was number 15. Patrick Mahomes took 36 total sacks himself. The other 5 were Carson Wentz getting sacked 5 times in Week 18 against Denver. But that was the most that Patrick Mahomes has taken in his entire career. And here's the bottom line, folks. Patrick Mahomes, we love the guy, but we've seen him banged up a little bit in his career. Had a little bum ankle at one point just this past season. And we are very fortunate with how much the offensive line struggled, particularly on the left side at left tackle, that it wasn't anything worse. All right? I am so thrilled, hindsight being 2020, as much as I would have loved the Chiefs to win the Super Bowl this past year, at least they got there, and Patrick Mahomes came out alive. In all honesty, I mean, with how bad the offensive line play was at the left tackle spot, things could have been a lot worse. Good news is there is a light at the end of the tunnel. Now, you did move on from Joe Thuney. You traded him. But here is what the Chiefs have done to address the offensive line. You drafted Josh Simmons in the first round, pick number 32, out of the Ohio State. We'll talk more about him coming up later. You signed Jaylon Moore in free agency from the San Francisco 49ers, who is going to compete with Simmons for that starting left tackle job. You signed Esa Pohl as a UDFA, and Pohl, I'll say this, I don't know if he's going to make the roster necessarily, but this is a guy I thought was going to get drafted. He is one of, if not the best UDFAs out there. Dalton Cooper, you also signed as a UDFA out of Oklahoma State. He was another player I thought was going to get drafted, a very good UDFA signing. And then Tremaine Antrim Jr., you signed him in free agency. We'll see if he makes the roster, but he was a part of a Super Bowl championship with the LA Rams. He has a decent amount of experience. I thought you did a pretty good job with the new faces in the new places that you brought in the O-line here in Kansas City. And that's on top of Mike Caliendo re-signed. And Mike Caliendo did a decent job when he started the left guard spot when they moved Joe Thuney over to left tackle, really up until the Super Bowl. Even if he's a backup, I'll gladly take Mike Caliendo on my team in a relatively cheap contract. And then Kingsley is moving over from the offensive tackle spot to the offensive guard position. Kingsley struggled a bit last year, if we're going to be frank. And one of the issues was his lack of arm length. And moving to the guard spot should be better suited for him anyway. So whether he wins the job or not, I think that he should dramatically improve. So with all that said, essentially here is what you've done if you're Brett Veach and Andy Reid with this offensive line. You have basically 4 different options at your disposal between Simmons, Moore, Caliendo, and Kingsley at 2 positions. And I'm not saying it's going to be perfect right away. It might take some tinkering of finding out who's best for those jobs and what specific roles they play. But as a betting man, and I am a betting man, believe me, much to the chagrin of my mother, I think something is going to work just when you look at the odds. Is it the Hunger Games? They say, may the odds be in your favor? Big Text does confirm. It is the Hunger Games. Shout out Jennifer Lawrence. I think the odds are in your favor with 4 different options at 2 spots. And if there's an injury, then you still have other possibilities as well. So, is the Chiefs' offensive line fixed? Is everything kosher now? Are we good? Sound off, Kingdom. Let me know. Type Y for yes, in for no. Chime in the comments section and tell me what you think. Today's show is sponsored by Prize Picks. Prize Picks is the place to go for daily fantasy made easy. Here's how it works. Choose 2 or more players on any given category. Get the choice of more or less, whether you're talking fantasy points in football, rebounds in basketball, goals in hockey, all sorts of different categories to choose from. Do you know ball? There's only 1 series left of the playoffs, and the championship is officially on the line. That means time is running out for you to put your final takes to the test on Prize Picks, the best place to win cash in your favorite sports. This year's basketball playoffs are headed towards crowning a first-time champ in more than 50 years. Don't miss your last chance to cash in on history with Prize Picks. Pick more or less on player stats like points, rebounds, assists, and more for your shot to win up to 2,000 times your cash today. Sign up today, get $50 instantly when you play $5. You don't even need to win to receive the $50 bonus. It's guaranteed. The basketball playoffs are wrapping up, but the action is still heating up on Prize Picks, the best place to cash in on your favorite sports. Download the app today. Use code CLNS to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code CLNS to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. Here is what I got for game number 1. You know I'm rooting on the Oklahoma City Thunder. Let's see the Thunder bring home that championship. They call him the free throw merchant. I think that's disrespectful, but I think SGA does a very good job of getting to the foul line in game 1 against Indiana. I got the more on him with 10.5 free throw attempts. I think Miles Turner gets more than 5 rebounds, and Tyrese Halliburton will go less on 17.5 points. If I put $20 down, all 3 of those hit, that turns into $60 on Prize Picks. Check out Prize Picks. Link is in the comments and description of today's video. Promo code CLNS. Prize Picks. Run your game. Check out Prize Picks today. You'll be glad you did. So here's another thing that you didn't have last year that you have now. You have depth on that side of the offensive line. Now, the reports that we've seen, all indications are that Josh Simmons is on track to win the starting left tackle position. And we've heard Andy Reid say that the left guard spot is between Kingsley and Caliendo as of right now. But I still think there's a possibility if Simmons wins the left tackle job that Moore moves over to the left guard spot. With that said, if Simmons wins the left tackle job, I think that's a really good sign for the Kansas City Chiefs because that means that Simmons as a rookie is well ahead of schedule in his development, that he's 100% recovered from injury, and that he's in good shape. With that said, he's still going to have to take the job from Jaylon Moore. If the season started today, Jaylon Moore would still be your starting left tackle, and Kingsley would likely be your starting left guard. But with Simmons there, with Caliendo, you got options to work with if you're the Kansas City Chiefs at this spot. And it's a very good thing because it goes back to one of the things that's been a theme of this show for the last couple of months when we've talked about the offensive line of what you have now compared to what you had previously. You have strength in numbers. And I think the key for the Chiefs when it comes to this offensive line situation, and I think it's in particular with Jaylon Moore here, is you treat it like a basketball starting 5. Basketball has become so positionless, right? I think if you're the Chiefs, you need to think about this offensive line being positionless. I just want to come up with the best 5 combination possible out there. If Jaylon Moore has to play guard, if Simmons has to play guard potentially, if Kingsley just looks fantastic at the guard spot, whatever it may be, I just want the best 5 out there and make it work. Don't be afraid to move around. And we looked at last year. It paid off tremendously for the Chiefs. Kansas City would not have gotten to the Super Bowl last year had Joe Thuney not moved over to the left tackle position. I think we all can confidently say that. And if I'm Andy Reid, I think I'm keeping that mindset again of just stay flexible and see the best you can come up with. Who should be the starting left tackle for Kansas City? Should it be Josh Simmons or should it be Jaylon Moore? Type JS for Josh Simmons. Type JM for Jaylon Moore. Sound off the comment section. Let me know which one you're leaning towards. Folks, want to make sure you subscribe to the Kansas City Chiefs Report as we're bringing you daily news and rumors. We have live shows each and every Tuesday, sometimes 2 and 3 videos a day, breaking news, Q&A, mailbags, and more. We are the most interactive Chiefs channel on YouTube, and I want you to make sure you're subscribed and stay up to date with everything happening on your favorite team throughout the entire offseason right here on the channel. Doesn't cost you a thing. Let's get at least 20 subs off today's video. YouTube.com/ChiefsTV. Subscribe now for free. You'll be glad you did. Back to 15, Patrick Mahomes. Protect your biggest asset. He is the most talented quarterback I have ever seen. He is the best quarterback in the league. And God forbid, we don't want anything to happen to him. And that's what this is all about, is protecting 15. And you have options now. And you wonder, okay, so how is this fixed all of a sudden? You got new bodies in, but what are the numbers to necessarily back this up? Let's focus on Josh Simmons and Jaylon Moore here for a second. Let's start with Simmons. Granted, it was at the college level, but he did play in the Big Ten for Ohio State, a team that won a national championship, faced a lot of big hog mollies on the defensive line, and Josh Simmons did what he was supposed to do. He only allowed 1 sack in the last 2 seasons. Andy Reid has already called him a cornerstone piece to this Kansas City Chiefs team. And then your other option, Jaylon Moore, whether he wins the left tackle job or he's playing guard or even if he's just a backup. He'd be a hell of a backup to have coming off the bench and did a great job filling in for Trent Williams there in San Francisco last year. He's only allowed 2 sacks in the last 2 seasons. Andy Reid said when Moore has opportunity, he's good. And now he's got a potential opportunity, the biggest in front of him of his career. We'll see if he can capitalize and if he can deliver for Kansas City. If you enjoyed today's show, like the video. Let's stick it to Broncos Breakdown. Show them why we have the best fans in the league. Hit that like button. We certainly would appreciate them. Tyler Jones, thanks for joining us. We'll see you next time.